GM everyone. It's another weekly roundup. This time it's just me and Rachit. We'll have Hamza and Ishan back next week. But yeah, a lot of shit happened this week, not in regards to price, at least in the crypto markets. There hasn't been much to be excited about, but it seems like all season is happening in the traditional markets. And yeah, let's just get started, man.
Yeah, bro. I thought what was really interesting this week was the EIGEN layer AI16Z bid. I thought that was interesting. Um, I saw you made a short on Hyperliquid. Why did you close it at 40 though?
Yeah, let me kind of
Yeah, pull
start
up
with.
coin gecko. Yeah, pull up coin gecko. I think that's always interesting when we do it.
Yeah, yeah. So before I get to like the hyperliquid short, why I even took it is like let's just go over what has happening in the markets. So Bitcoin, like it kind of nuked to 104K because of all these escalations that's happening with the war and no rate cards and all of this. And Trump came like yesterday, I think, where he said that he's giving it 2 weeks of extension before making a decision on whether the US will enter the war. And that 2 weeks kind of gave the market a signal where, okay, he's just giving it more time for these guys to figure it out and come to the negotiation table and sort this out and de escalate the whole situation. So, as a reaction to that, we saw like the market kind of bounce a bit. Bitcoin's at 106K. Ethereum and XRP are very strong. Sol is still weak, and all the memes got nuked. Fat coins at a dollar, SPX. It also like kind of showing weakness, and also Hyperliquid pretty much nuked 25%. And uh, yeah, I mean, right now it's just markets are choppy. There's nothing going on, and we bounced where we were supposed to. I feel like 104K, 103 point something. We were supposed to bounce there. That was a good support. We bounced there, and I don't know. Like it's all about like headline risk, right? Like one headline, it comes and we nuke, and Trump comes out and says something, we bounce. So it's kind
Yeah,
of a no trade zone kind of thing. But yeah, why I took like the hyperliquid short was I just felt like uh, the bid was like insane. Like it from when it went from 35 to 40, and then it dipped to 37, and then it immediately like went back to 40 and then 45. And then I was like, it's just a worthwhile place to take some shots when Bitcoin is weak. And I was like, Hyperliquid is something that it has like this passive bid of assistance fund, and people are t-wapping millions. But I felt like it's still a coin that will have drawdowns. It's not like just an up only coin all the time. So it just went from $10 to $45. So that's like a 4x, and it had no retracement, right? So there's this insane amount of open interest and leverage in that particular asset, and I was like, it just made sense to kind of start a short, and I took it at like pretty good entry, right? Like I shot it above 45, and I was like, if it was holding 45 for a couple of hours with Bitcoin weak, I'll just close it. But yeah, I mean, it immediately kind of retraced, and why I closed it so early was all these new companies came out with their announcement saying we are buying 50 million of hype, we are buying 100 million of hype, we are buying 600 million of hype, and I was like, I don't know if how it will happen, but I just felt like if Bitcoin was to like show strength again, hype will again kind of skyrocket. I just felt like so it just didn't feel like the risk to hold on to that short. Obviously, I closed my short. The next day, it was down another 15%. I kind of missed that, but I was like, okay, I was happy with like how I executed it because you just can't control these headlines and these announcements, right? Like, and
yeah,
that
bro.
was that
I
was
think
another
all.
reason. Like, to kind of finish this thought, where all this high build up to $45 was like all these companies who already knew that these announcements were coming out, they were just like front
Yeah,
running everything.
exactly what I was gonna say. Like, when I saw the headline, I actually wanted to short, but I already have like a really big hyperliquid position, so I didn't want. So I don't trade like smaller windows. My portfolio is just like Hype, Solana, and Virtuals, and Hyperliquid's the asset I'm gonna sell last this cycle. So I'm just holding on to all those three. But like whenever I see like a headline like that, I'm always short, bro. Like there's no reason why you would be long um, in that scenario. But no, bro. Like 45 to 40, that's a pretty good shot. You should start sharing screenshots in our Telegram group. I think that'll help us get more people interested in the Telegram group stuff.
Yeah, man. I don't like. I always feel like whenever bloat whatever wins I get.
No, bro.
But
You sell and then share. Like I think that's what makes you
I
different,
don't know,
bro.
like even if I get the feeling of I want to sell or close everything or whatever I want to do, market goes against me and I kind of get do stupid like make stupid decisions. Uh, but yeah, man,
Like,
like this week felt like nothing happened and also a lot happened kind of week.
oh, so
Uh,
much happened this week. Like, okay, so I don't actively trade. Like from a trading perspective, I understand, but so much happened this week, bro. Like, did you see the Genius Act stuff? Like the stablecoin yield bill is finally passed. Do you understand that at like a fundamental level or a little bit? Do you?
just look at this, bro. Like, look at Circle. You don't need to
Yeah.
understand like the bill or something, right? It's just good for stablecoins. The TLDR is it's good for stable coins, institutions can participate, blah blah blah, all that shit, right? Like JP, you can
Yeah, bro.
you just understand like JP Morgan comes out and says that we're going to tokenize our cash or whatever their bank deposits and make a deposit token. So that's like very bullish, right? So
Yeah, bro.
it's certainly like all the tokens are getting a bit, but Circle is like insane, man. Like imagine if we could, uh, anyone like when we were streaming and the last like when it went live, it was $80, and it's like up and 2x, and pre-market is bro. Well, it's pre-market is $230, so it's already up 10% today,
Wow. Yeah,
right? I mean, insane, man. Like
that's
they
wild,
are
bro. Like,
almost, and even Coinbase, right? Like look at Coinbase. Even Coinbase is getting a bid. Just look at this.
bro,
Even
Coinbase will. That's what we talked about in the last one, right? The one that we did with Hamza. Like, Coinbase is the Circle. I wouldn't say even beta. Like, it's Circle is the Coinbase beta. Um, and it has all of it has to do with US, like Coinbase making more money per USDC than Circle, which is really interesting. But one thing that I do want to talk about in terms of the Genius Act and like the yield bearing stablecoin. So essentially, like I'm not a lawyer. I've just heard people talk about this, and I have my own opinion. But essentially, what this bill enables is you can now offer a yield bearing stablecoin out to the public. Okay. And people fundamentally think that this is bullish for banks. I actually don't think it's bullish for banks. I think there's so many people out there that are talking about how stable coins will be the future of payments and all of this. Like, you know, it's so bullish. But when a bank issues a stable coin, they don't understand like if you're actually going through the payments flow, the bank actually makes zero money from a stablecoin transfer. The underlying ecosystem makes a transaction fee. If it's like an L2, it's like sequencer fees. If it's an L1, the person validating makes the money, right? So payments as a use case will die down between these banks once they realize like, hey, stablecoin payment flow doesn't get us back anything. The thing that's really interesting though is when you are able to issue a stablecoin and you're able to attract capital for that stablecoin, you can then buy a bunch of US treasuries, and that then becomes like your yield base, right? So the stablecoin play is to maximize TVL, not to enable, like a front load of payments, basically. I think each of these banks is going to launch their own stablecoin, but the problem that we'll face is a JP Morgan stablecoin will not be accepted by Citibank and vice versa, and you will have like all of these multiple different uh, banks come up with stablecoins. You know what will come up though out of this? We'll have like a curve like infrastructure where you can one to one swap all these stable coins. So think
Yeah.
of JP Morgan stablecoin, City stablecoin, Morgan Stanley stablecoin, and then you'll have like a curve pool. And my hot take is that the curve pool will be managed by the Fed. Like the Federal Reserve will be like, we enable all swaps between all these stable coins because we are the ones that can guarantee custody of the assets that are behind this. So I think that's going to happen. The second thing that's going to happen that's going to be really interesting is, I think, companies like Starbucks, companies like Walmart, Target, basically like front consumer facing companies will start issuing their stable coins with the so like Starbucks has an app, right? And during COVID they promoted this app. Now imagine Starbucks being able to give you a yield bearing stablecoin where they're like, deposit money here and you'll get 5%. But then also what they'll be able to say is, if you deposit $1 million you get coffee for free for a year, or they will be able to give you perks based off that. So every company in the world will now be able to give you yield, and then also they'll give you perks on top of that yield. So then it becomes, the stablecoin race will not become a race of payment volume, but it'll become a race of TVL with additional bonuses where the banks cannot compete. So you'll slowly see the banks get out of this, and then you'll hopefully see these consumer companies win in this scenario. That's how I see it playing out in the next 2 or 3 years. I also posted about it in our group the other day. Like, I think from a banking perspective, we'll converge back to USDC and USDT. But these are the kind of things that I think will be really interesting in the next couple of years for stablecoins.
Yeah, man, it's just so many things can be done, and I'm gonna share like couple of tweets uh, that I really liked. So I've been following this person. She's a chief investment officer. I don't know where, but I really like her thoughts. So one, like all the stablecoin, everyone's talking about, she's kind of sharing the other side of this bet, like why it's really not that novel or like innovative when it comes to some kind of credit card uh, transaction fees. I'm just going to read it out. Like the disruptible component of payments is basically zero without a source of revolving credit, which either would look exactly like how credit cards do without stablecoins or not work at all. Unsecured credit is basically impossible without identity. And she also says like stablecoins, in my opinion, basically have zero chance in the US of disrupting payments at all. Some flashy businesses like Shopify like the idea, but for a large business like Walmart, the amount they pay for rails like Visa is so low because they have the full control, like they have the full leverage. So stablecoins also lack any type of fraud protection and ways to comply with KYC and stuff. And what Circle does is pretty much, it has a ton of problems, right? It just like if your only solution is to freeze funds, like that's not like an ideal solution. So it's pretty interesting like how she's saying the other side of this whole bet. And we are all, I mean, I think we already know this, like stablecoins especially is very useful for cross-border stuff rather than in the US, and where it's already pretty convenient. And another thing regarding, I don't know if it's the same thing, but we saw this Coinbase credit card stuff where points. Uh,
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I've seen that. There was actually a company in India called, I think it was called BitSats. They used to do the same thing last cycle, but they never got adoption in India, which was pretty wild. But I think that's a good idea, like cash back in Bitcoin. I think that's pretty cool.
yeah, I think even Ansem had like I think you were sharing this.
Yeah, bro.
Stablecoins in their current state are wholly reliant on the depth of the global superpowers. So its core value is kind of to disrupt the system. So it's kind of very counterintuitive.
Bro,
And
which is why Ethena, like I genuinely believe Ethena is the purest form of a stable coin in crypto. And they've done really well because they're not focusing on payments, they're not focusing on anything. Like they have native yield, like crypto native yield, and they understand the DeFi game so well that they're increasing TVL and they're just maximizing that way. I would love to see Athena get more public, like recognition amongst institutions. I think with the Athena and Securitized chain converge, they'll probably get there. And I've been hearing a lot of Guy Young takes on how that chain is going to be like the first KYC compliant ecosystem. So yeah, that's also one to look out for. I think Athena is going to do really well this cycle.
Bro, it's like one of those cursed coins. Like it's like one of the most cursed coins ever. Like it has this insane unlocks all the time, and uh, it has like all the fundamentals, but it's just very hard to hold that coin if you're like, even if it's like a long term hold, it's very hard to kind of. It's just pure AIDS kind of PA.
But I hold a little bit of ENA airdrop, like the airdrop I got back in the day. So yeah, no, I feel that for sure.
I like
Uh,
this Kobe's idea. Just before we move on to the pump fun
yeah,
stuff. So, so you know how like Coinbase launched their card, and they're like, for every purchase you make, you get this, I don't know, 4% cashback or something, and it goes into buying Bitcoin. He's like, so I love this account, like Venture Anthropologist, like one of my favorite accounts. So Kobe replied like, putting into your points into zero DTE options is probably a much better thing, because I don't really care about, like Bitcoin stuff is always obviously like cool, but if I randomly hit one of these options plays and my few $100 or $1,000 becomes 100K, that is much better feeling than, because I'm not even caring about those points, right? Like
so
I don't
this
really.
was we could talk about like this concept could be put into anything. Like okay, Lido 4% yield. You could run the same playbook as well. I think it comes back to like everyone's risk appetite. Like I've been trying to convince a lot of people to build an engine where you can basically ape meme coins based on the yield that you're generating on stable coins. And it's like, you basically ensure stable like future yield and you can ape stuff. Yeah, bro. I think this Bitcoin credit card thing that Coinbase is doing is really interesting, and you'll see a lot more Bitcoin bids because of this, which will also be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. All right. Like the next thing I think we should like kind of touch upon is what's happening with PumpFun. And
Bro, we
like
should do a pump on stream, bro. Like I've been telling you for so long. Like we should just do it, bro. Like you, me, Ritik talk about sports on Pump Fun. Yeah, bro.
yeah, man. I mean, what this whole, I mean, them getting suspended and making it a little political and all that's kind of cool banter on the timeline. But I'm really excited about when they do launch their token. Uh, I think that they have this bigger vision of streaming, and I think it's slowly starting to play out. Uh, but obviously, these things are being gamed, and they are pretty much engineered in a certain way to make it look like it's working, but we don't really know. But uh, let's talk a little about Gainsey, man. Like he's become the main character again.
Yeah,
uh,
bro.
I've been following this dude like since 2020 or something. I don't know the lore behind in the last cycle, like last two cycles, but it's crazy, right? Like I saw this guy first on PumpFun streaming, and I was like, he's gonna be the best streamer in crypto, because so many of the streamers we saw, it's like you're coming on and you're interviewing these founders, talking about something that's most people are not interested. Here's a guy smoking cigarettes, talking
Yeah,
about talking about nukes, talking about
bro. Like every time I look at his stream, I just hope he's okay. Because like
I don't know.
I see like random clips. It's also wild that a lot of people like that Gainsey is like a goated trader, right? Like last cycle, like he ran like a lot of public. Like James win this cycle, Gainsey was kind of that last
Nah, bro,
cycle.
he was never that good
Not
of a
that
trader.
size, not that size, but in terms of like trading, and the trades that he took, they're kind
He
of
was more like a gambler. Now he's like fully transitioned to content creator streamer vibes. And also, like, I think we are going to see like an escalation of more people launching their own coins, all these creators. I mean, I could see Ansem launching his own coin on PumpFun, uh, right?
I
Like,
don't know,
if,
bro. I think the timeline comes back and forth on this topic. Like, okay, Elon tweeted creator capital markets this week, so oh my god, everyone launching a token is bullish now. But 5 months ago, launching a token was equivalent to having an OnlyFans, bro. I think the timeline is just so misguided. Like, just have one take. I
yeah,
personally feel that I think the front tech model was the ideal way for a creator to have a token. That's my take. I think the pump fun way is very similar to that because you have a chatting interface. Maybe in the future, pump fun live streams are only limited to token holders, and that's how they create value for the token, and that's how like a bigger streamer will attract bits. I don't know, uh, but yeah, bro. Like I think the timeline is too conflicted, and like it's borrowed conviction. Because I do remember, like, you do remember this tweet, right? Like, launching a token is equivalent to having an OnlyFans, and that like blew up.
OnlyFans daughter or some
Yeah,
PumpFun.
bro, pump fun son. Like, yeah, bro. Like everyone was talking about that after all these celebrity coins, and now we're back to like, okay, creators having their own coin. I think a celebrity coin, like the Frentech model works. I think this live stream mechanism works. Like, okay, tell me this. Like, you've seen a lot of Game Z clips and Game Z live streams, right? Have you ever thought about buying the token?
No, no, I didn't really buy it because I just felt like it's being farmed or something. But when when this whole thing happened and he started like embracing this whole war gamesy kind of character, even though he knows, right, like he can't go anywhere and he's just embracing it. I mean, I respect it. Like, I knew that when he did that and he was streaming from his bunker, and in a minute there were 1,500 people on his live stream, the token 10x, uh, right, from 1 million or something it went to 10 million. But I was like I'm past playing, like, unless it's something I'm really early on. I don't feel like this is the market to
Yeah,
uh, play about shitters. And talking about shitters, have you seen this Garbagana thing, bro? What the hell? What's the, this thing went to $40 million yesterday. You haven't seen it,
no, bro. Show me.
bro? Yeah. So Toli and this guy, it's like a Solana fork. So Toli was basically talking about this, and I mean, I didn't understand what it was. Uh,
Are you just share screen? No, I can't. I don't. I have zero reference to
yeah,
this.
I'm just finding which tweet it is. So this is like this dev guy. Let me just find it. Did he delete it or something? Yeah, I got it. Yeah. So this thing, like, I saw it at like 10 million or something, and it went to like 40 in a few minutes, in an hour. Sorry. Uh, Yeah, so this guy was like Gabriel. He launched some coin, or I don't think he launched it. Someone else launched it, and he and Tori were going back and forth about this Solana fork or something, and the trenches, uh, yeah, the trenches like took it, and I don't know, they gave like 100K to that guy, and
That's wild, bro.
I don't know, it's just crazy shit, like. Uh,
Bro. KG, I genuinely, I still believe that we need to do this pump fun live stream stuff. Bro, you know what else we should do? Like, we should talk to a gambling site. Did you see the luck.io thing? Like the 500K a month? Bro, like, so that's like the equivalent of, so I remember last year, like last cycle, Rollbit was giving out like 10K per month to like creators to do this. This 500K thing is just unbelievable, bro. Like,
okay, question for you. Would you take it, like, if you are If you are a creator, you obviously will take it, right?
Yeah, bro. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, that's just okay. So the roll bit 10K a month, I would think about maybe, but this luck, bro, it's 500K, bro. Like, yeah, it's so much money, bro. Like, what are you talking about,
Who
bro?
wouldn't like if
Fucking
even if you are like
Banks,
insanely
Banks is calling it the hyperliquid of casinos, bro.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, the thing is, I was like, I don't think this is true. I don't think this is like, I don't think they are giving out that much money because I saw like few weeks back where all these guys were saying, I'm gonna get a 500K airdrop or something, kind of teasing it. It's like kind of a meme. I feel I don't think it's true, but I was just like, a casino. First of all, like there are some people posting that this whole thing about you can verify your uh, probabilities or something. It's on-chain verifiable or something. That's why this particular casino is different than all the others, and it's not rigged or something. I don't
that's some
believe that. I don't think.
like
I don't
unless
think.
it has. Okay, I'm gonna just throw random keywords out there. Unless it's Eigen Cloud ZK verified, I'm not believing that shit, bro.
Yeah. So Fubar, he wrote an article like on this, like the latest casino
Oh yeah,
scam, and he kind of said that this is not technically provability or I don't know what it is. I know what this means, but it's like code not verified, it's not immutable, and he was just making a case that
yeah,
uh,
bro. I was actually delighted to see this one because Fubar hasn't posted in a while, so I was actually pretty happy that he came back and he posted something like this.
and
Like
Gain even Gainsey said that like Gainsey is a gambling guy. If he was offered this money, he would take it, right? He in one of his clip he said that I wouldn't promote something that only has slots because you are over time your whatever deposit what you make it will trend to zero and you will lose everything because you can't beat the system with slots. Whereas if you bet on sports, if you bet on blackjack or all these other casino games, you have a chance, right? So that was weird.
bro,
And
okay. I'll say this on the pod. I don't think there's a single character on crypto Twitter that will say no to 500K a month. And I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about QLs or pure
I don't think
traders.
Kobe will take it. I don't think Kobe will take it.
Bro, okay, Kobe's on a different league. All right, let's leave Kobe on that league. But like anyone, bro, anyone would take that.
Yeah, and
100%.
yeah, I agree. Another thing I was like, uh, like all these guys, like everyone on CT, who's these all the creators have their audience. And first of all, I think I respect creators who differentiate themselves and put themselves in the position to get these kind of deals because something they're doing is working, right? Unless like you just
Yeah, bro, like you don't see a sponsorship logo on our like on the top right
yeah,
corner.
exactly. Right? Like they're doing something that's working and they're giving these good deals,
Yeah,
and I respect creators for that. But what I have trouble is seeing the if I'm a community member and I'm following these guys, I'm following them for memes and shit like that. And I probably lost money on memes, right? Like so many of the people lost money. Like meme market is not doing great, and so many people who are gambling with small, amounts of they probably got rinsed or they don't want to, put in more money into this casino games, right? So if your audience is that who got completely wrecked over the last 6 months, and they're probably looking for they don't want to gamble anymore, right? Or they want to do, they want that 100x or 1000x, and it's probably memes give you a better chance than fucking slots, right?
no, bro. Like what? Okay,
I
okay,
think
okay. I,
I
I will
think
I will
I
give
think
you a I will
I
give
think
you a
people
public
make
bet.
more money than slots.
I
I don't
will
think people, yeah.
okay, Kejina. I will give you a public bet. I can make I would probably 100x quicker on Plinko than you finding the next meme coin.
No, I don't think so. I
No,
don't
bro,
think
100%, bro.
I think that if you know what you're doing with memes, you have a chance of growing your money. Let's say you have $1,000, right? Right,
Okay.
and you have 10 soul or something, and you're starting slowly, and you're putting 0.2 Sol or 0.5 Sol into some of these memes. Even if you catch one of them and gives you like I don't know 5x or 6x, you are increasing your port 50%. But with the Plinko thing, you could blow the entire thing in 10 minutes if you are, you know,
That's true.
because
No,
you
like
lose once. You
no
lose
one.
once. It's easier death spiral with Plinko than with memes, in my opinion.
Nah, bro. Well, I mean, okay. So the opposite side to this is, I would assume if you're sports betting and you knew what you were doing, you could 10x a lot quicker than meme
They
coin
don't
as
have
well.
sports betting. They don't have sports. They don't have a sports book.
Like in general, like if you did it, oh, you know what we should do? We should call the block acid guys and talk to them about this. I think
Yeah, they're
Bobby,
doing well. They're doing well.
we'll bring them on. I think that buyback and burn thing is pretty interesting too. I'm back into like betting. I didn't bet this F1 race. I had no idea. Russell, okay, sorry, that's like a different
I'm
topic.
not
Like,
even following F1, bro. What's happening?
we can talk about it on the sports side. But okay, yeah, bro. I think the luck.io thing was interesting. We'll get the block acid boys on to talk about it. Have you been okay? So I want to change topics a little bit. Have you been seeing Gavin Wood on the podcast run that he's on lately, bro?
Bro,
Okay, like CT
Polkadot
can,
comeback. Polkadot comeback arc.
bro. I think CT can laugh all they want at Polkadot, but like, have you listened to a couple of the pods that he's been doing and the kind of messaging that he has? Like, bro, his PR team is actually running the right narrative. The only problem is like CT doesn't respond well to that guy. Okay, so I'll tell you the entire narrative that he's running. Okay, the entire narrative is that I used to be at Ethereum. I was a key stakeholder. You know, everything was good while I was there. I left and I built Polkadot. Um, Back when I left, no one believed in this scaling vision of like L2s and all this. I believed in it. That's why I built this parachain model of like this interoperability hub and every chain being connected to the hub. All right. Fast forward, you now have all these Ethereum maxis promoting L2s and being like, okay, we have to scale the L1, and that's how Ethereum will grow. His thoughts are that when this whole thing was happening, it was inefficient, and the Polkadot mechanism was actually more superior to this whole L2 fiasco, because the L2 would have to take care of all the data, like Oracle support, the interoperability support, all of that. Fast forward again, now that Ethereum price action is struggling a little bit, they're now pivoting back to like, let's scale the L1. So what Gavin Wood is basically doing on this podcast run, he's talking about how Ethereum leadership is misguided, how the L2 roadmap doesn't make sense, and if the L1 plus L2 roadmap does make sense in any scenario, it makes sense with the Polkadot architecture. And that's what he's preaching. The only problem is like no one on CD responds to that stuff, bro. Like no one cares. But like the narrative that he's running, um, okay. So I can tell you what's gonna happen in like the next 1 year or so. Bro, Nirav talked about this in our last pod where he was like, camp was an L2, now it's an L1 because we want more customizability. You'll see this trend where everyone was launching an L2. Now everyone will launch an L1. All right. And then you'll have players like Cosmos, Polkadot, Avalanche, any ecosystem that lets you launch an L1 with customizability, try to be involved in that narrative. I think Avalanche has like a step ahead with inversion and them having Santi launch a chain there, but you'll see that narrative come back and people will come back to launching L1s. And I think the Polkadot team is trying to position themselves for that. I think it's genius. I think this CT is not responsive. But what they're doing makes sense from a narrative perspective. Like I would have run the same playbook. Oh, you're on mute, bro.
Yeah, so Polkadot is interesting, right? Like their thing is like I'm not really uh I don't think many of the people who want to they just want to a place where there's institutional interest and retail interest. There's some cool apps going on. There's some growing activity, and Polkadot is interesting because they got some good partnerships done over the last year. I feel like Mythical Games, I think, is one of the best apps or the games to come out of Web3, and Uh, Even Pudgy Penguins, they are partnered on. They're launching their game or something on Polkadot. So, and with in partnership with the Mythical Games guys. So, and they also have some DeFi stuff going on, but it's not like that mature or there's that much of inflows happening. Uh, I mean, like all these old L1s, L2s, I think, I don't know, like I just I'm bearish on them. If you have seen like this chart from Mesari that uh, all the L2s without base and all these, uh, let me just pull that up. So they have generated less than 1 million in revenue over the last, I think, 6 months. Yeah, I got it. Compared to like the 52 million top, which is insane. Yeah. So L2 fees excluding base, Arbitrum 1 and OP mainnet have collapsed. So it's now doing just 960K. And there are just so many of these chains that are just gonna die. Uh, right? Like, and the thing with these other OG projects, the the upper hand they have is they have insane amounts of money, right? They can just take crazy risks and see what sticks and what kind of plays out. Uh, but they have to take those kind of do those experiments to kind of do well. Like talking about like one of these OG chains, right? I think Polygon is going to make good comeback, bro. Uh, let's talk about it. Like, I don't believe in the token first of all.
Okay. As much as
But
I want, as
let's.
much as I want that to happen,
I
like
think it's.
I need to I haven't seen a roadmap yet. Like okay, I hold a lot of Polygon. My dad holds a lot of Polygon. I genuinely want that to happen, but yeah, bro. Like I don't know.
Yeah, so I just think that for like so many years, right? Like they have had this narrative problem. What is Polygon even? Right? You have had this ZK stuff, ZK AVM. You're powering all these chains. You have the most the biggest breakout app, Poly Market, is on your chain. RWS stuff is kicking off. Payments is still a big use case for Polygon. I don't know, like I still for paying anyone or even using myself, I still use Polygon, right? I still use on Polygon network, uh, and
Bro,
and their
because
app.
you're Indian, bro. Like, okay, whenever I need to send stables to a KOL, I will always use Polygon Network, bro, because Sandeep's the guy. Like, like Polygon did a workshop in my college. I got into crypto because of Polygon. Okay, so if there was something interesting happening in the Polygon ecosystem, I would actually be the first person to go and use it, bro. You don't have to pitch it to me. I want it to happen. I just don't. I just haven't seen a roadmap for it to happen. I agree with everything that Sandeep is doing on, like deprecating ZK AVM, focusing on POS and ag layer. I agree with all of that. I just haven't seen a roadmap on what POS is going to do. I see a lot of the Katana stuff. I see a lot of the Polygon projects just sort of spin out and do their own thing. Um, I think Sandeep is going to have to merge everything back and bring it back. Another like one of the biggest problems is, bro, no one even knows that the token is called POL. Like everyone still calls it Matic. If everyone's just going to call it Matic, then why? Like what efforts were put into the rebrand, basically. But I've been trying to get Sandeep on the podcast for too long. Sandeep, if you're
Yeah,
listening to
man,
this,
we have to make it. We have to make it happen. Yeah, I think I think even they realized that particular transition thing was not emphasized enough, and there's still people calling it Matic. Uh, and I don't know if I don't know. It's still I know that because I was on kind of personally was on that kind of rebrand kind of thing and understand it, but I don't know, man. Like I don't know about the tech stuff. I'm not going to pretend I know, but I just think that when these big shifts happen, founder shifts, and they go back into this, 0 to 1, whatever they want to call it. uh, I just think they'll make very fast decisions and be aggressive about it in this market. That's what is necessary, and I don't know. Like, let's see what happens. But I'm bullish on this Katana stuff. If DeFi Renaissance or DeFi 2.0, whatever is happening, and these guys are being the one stop place for all yield, and they have all these cool integrations. It's going to be interesting to see. I deposited like some amount to farm this airdrop. Uh, uh, I don't know, like there is like a huge vesting. I'm not really pleased by that, but like they have this cool concept of crates and all this stuff. But I don't know, like let's see what happens. But I just feel like they're heading in the right direction over the last few months, and it's
No,
going to be.
the day Sandeep announced that he was back, like I was extremely bullish, bro. Like everyone was happy about it. So yeah, I think Polygon had a talent problem and then a leadership problem, maybe. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm just really happy Sandeep's back. Oh, you're on mute, bro.
Yeah, I don't think they ever had like a talent problem. Like I think they're like super smart team and everyone.
Oh no,
It's
no.
just
I mean talent rotation. Like, if you
yeah,
think about everyone that I meet that's Indian that's doing well in their career in crypto, they are all ex Polygon. Why are they all ex Polygon? Like that's what I'm saying. But anyway, like this is like a very separate topic. I think we need to get Sandeep on to talk about this. I love Polygon, by the way, bro. Like my dad loves Polygon. My dad would even vote for Sandeep to be Prime Minister of India, bro. So like, yeah, bro. Like we made money last cycle on Polygon, bro. Like, uh,
I know.
it
Eh,
is what it is.
almost everyone did.
Yeah,
Uh,
almost every Indian did. Like, who else was going around on the news,
it was
bro?
like one of the biggest trades, right? Like it
Yeah,
was on Binance for 5 million and it went to 10 billion. Like, come
yeah.
on. Uh, Anyway,
Literally.
the next thing, yeah, I think we should talk about what Blockworks has done with their
Okay,
transparency
token
framework.
transparency framework. Bro, I still don't understand that. I haven't read into it as much. I do think it's interesting for them to like. I saw that there were multiple criterias, and then they've sort of ranked tokens, and they're now asking people to come forth and participate in all of this. I think it's interesting. Let's see how many projects actually participate. I was interested. I was pretty. It was pretty interesting to see the Morpho guys on it, and they had like a 2 on 7 on one of the metrics. But I don't think a retail investor who's looking for the next 10x is going to care about the transparency framework, to be honest. um I don't know.
Yeah, let's just go into it, right? Like, so the first set of teams are Aerodrome, Jito, Jupiter, Morpho, Radium, Stride. I think Stride is interesting. They are like the Cosmos LST, I think. So I think how they're uh, doing this is basically understanding disclosures on few things like token supply. I don't know about market makers. Uh,
But they want you to disclose market makers as well.
yeah,
uh,
they want to disclose that as well, right? So
yeah.
it's gonna
No,
be like
they want you to disclose everything. Like, just scroll up, you can see the categories on the top, right? Like, it's like team allocation, market structure, financial disclosure has all of it. Um again, I think it's interesting, but do you I think it's an important step in like the institutionalization of our space. I think this is the kind of stuff that you disclose with a big institutional investor anyway, and now you're making it public for retail. Um, I don't know. I think it's interesting, but we'll have to see. Like, we'll have to see how it plays out. I think we should get someone from Blockworks to on the pod and talk about this as well, like how they came up with this, or maybe someone like I know there are like 4 other funds participating on this. We should call one of them and talk about it. What was really interesting, I saw Yash's comment on the announcement of this, and he was like, someone should build like an MCP server where you feed all this data and like anyone can just look at the transparency score
yeah, here
for
you go.
yeah, like you can just look at the transparency score. But you can't really, like, as Aryant is saying, like you can't really do that. I think that's like the evolution of this, and maybe Blockworks is going towards that. But it is pretty cool to see Blockworks try to do something like
Yeah,
this.
yeah, I think I have a huge respect for them. Like they always uh, try to do something with other to. It's like public goods for the space. Uh, so that's cool. Uh, but also like we're talking about all these OG chains. You have been to where you been to?
Bro, oh, you mean the XRP conference I was at last week?
XRPL. I was like, what is he doing at the XRP conference? Okay, why don't we share what your experience was like at an XRP conference?
Bro,
Uh,
okay, so it was called Apex 2025. It was a conference hosted by Ripple, and it was like XRPL, which is their chain. It was focused on that. I actually had a really good time, bro. Like the vibes were okay. I'm going to be very honest with you. The vibes were it was a Bitcoin conference, but instead of everyone having made money on Bitcoin, everyone had made money on XRP. And like the first day of the conference, I understood I can't tell people that I don't hold XRP because they're just gonna mock me, and then they're gonna ask me like, "Hey, what tokens do you hold?" And then they're just gonna tell me like, "Hey, we're outperforming you by X%." Like I told this guy that I hold Solana, and he just laughed at me, bro, for like 5 minutes. It was
bro,
kind of
it's
embarrassing.
insane. The
Yeah, it was
content.
kind of weird. But then, okay, so I think XRP is going to be really interesting. Now that their legal stuff is cleared out, I think they're going to make a comeback on CT, or they're going to start doing a lot more on CT. I think, like one of the biggest focuses for them during this conference was Ripple USD, or like RL USD that they're calling it. Bro, that has like 200 million TVL on Aave already. So I think they're thinking about it in the right way of like DeFi. You know how we were talking about stablecoins and DeFi. I think it's really interesting. Um, One of the things that they're also doing is the XRP ecosystem is now enabling smart contracts onto XRPL. The first form of that is going to be escrow, and now they're going to make it more decentralized for everyone else to participate in it as well. There was a lot of chatter about like XRP-Fi, basically like DeFi on XRPL. So staking was also a major topic where you can stake XRP to make yield. And then what people basically wanted was if you can have DeFi interactions on XRP, like staked XRP, that's what a lot of people were looking forward to. Yeah, but like there's just like a lot of things to think about, a lot of things to understand. One thing that was really interesting, someone told me like a minority supply of XRP total supply is held by Korean exchanges. Like the Koreans are super bullish on XRP, um, which is why you see a lot of Korean projects also building on XRP, like a lot of Korean teams, which I thought was an interesting insight. Another thing, like, what was it called? XRP, like the Ripple team recently acquired like a custodian. It was called Hidden Road, and there's a lot of speculation on how that custodian is going to play a pivotal role in Ripple's institutional roadmap. So yeah, bro, I think they're thinking about it in the right way. I think they're now that their legal problems have gone away, they're going to participate in CT culture a lot more, hopefully, and they'll come back to doing a lot more things here. So, like expect to see a lot more of on the timeline because they're definitely going to participate in this side. And yeah, bro, like the one thing that I hated myself for, like whenever I was meeting someone from the Ripple team or someone from the Ripple ecosystem, I would ask them like, "Hey, what conference are you going to next?" And then I'd be like, "Hey, are you going to eat CC?" And then they'd be like, "No, bro, we're not gonna eat CC." Yeah, bro, like that was really really awkward for me. Like,
Bro, it's like you're talking to a completely different set
yeah,
of
bro,
people.
different set of people. Like,
And
um,
that's why I don't think they care. Like, why should they
they
care
don't
about
care. They
CT?
don't.
They don't need to, right? Like, they can just pitch all these institutions, get some RWA, tokenize
Yeah,
this,
bro.
tokenize
Like,
that.
you know what?
Uh,
You know what one of these institutional players told me? They told me that if you look at it, Ripple's like a top 5 market cap coin. Like, I think I think it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, and then Ripple.
Yeah, it's not
If
going
I'm,
anywhere.
yeah, so since Ethereum and like the Ethereum Foundation doesn't help with like legal stuff on institutions, the Ripple team is actually really involved, and they'll actually fly out to meet regulators if you're an institution that wants to build on Ripple. So for them to get approval, if Ripple is on your backside, it's a lot easier. Another thing that Ripple does really well, they actually work with a lot of professors and PhD students that advocate for XRP tech, and like they eventually become like real life KOLs for government and like officials to see, okay, like Ripple's legit. So there are a lot of things that we can actually learn from from these guys. I think Ripple as an ecosystem we're not exposed to because they don't participate on CT culture, but we'll see that change. I'm trying to get someone from the Ripple team to join us on a pod, so that'll be interesting too.
Yeah, man. I think uh, whenever like it's one of those things, right? Like, and I have just read that Ripple owns like more than $100 billion of XRP tokens, and so you can just know, right? Like they own most of their tokens. That's why they've been able, like the price has been so stable, and it just, I don't know, it's just a mystery. I mean, it's not like that much of a mystery. It's just supply control. Uh, but I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just a weird chain that continues to.
Bro, it's weird because they don't participate in the circles that we participate in. That's what I'm telling you. Like,
Go check any channel and type XRP. It's like you have these believers. They're legit people who believe that XRP is going to $1,000. Uh,
yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's
it's,
just it's just
bro, and
insane.
those guys feel the same about Hyperliquid and how we talk about Hyperliquid. They're like, there are these people,
We don't say like Hyperliquid is going to 10,000 or something. We just say 200, 300 or something, which is
bro.
realistic.
Like, okay, your price targets are okay because they're realistic, bro. Like, like maybe they believe in it and they're like, this is a realistic price.
I don't know, man.
I
It's
don't know,
just
bro. Like, I think it's just really, it's interesting. I think it's something that we should participate in more. I think, okay, I'll give you like another example of this. After Bitcoin Fi or BTC Fi, whatever you want to call it, became a lot more normal on CT, like the L2 stuff, the Bitcoin backed stablecoin stuff, etc., etc. That's when CT started participating in Bitcoin conversations. Like before then, when would you see a Bitcoin bull post?
I don't know. Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess I think like Bitcoin yield is going to be a big thing. I know that. I think uh, it's just not. It's not a game like I am playing right now, right? Like uh, whenever it's about Bitcoin, it's just buy some and forget about it.
yeah,
Uh, I think like the main narratives moving forward for the rest of the year are just going to be like this is going to be three things, right? Anything you're gonna, I just saw some posts like if you are investing in the market, you just have to think like what are institutions likely to buy, right? They'll buy Bitcoin, of course, right? There's this infinite bid on Bitcoin, and you'll just see more of these public companies buying it. Second, they understand the value of stablecoins, so anything in the public markets, in like TradFi stuff, whoever is building, like that's why Circle is pumping so much, right? Like that's like the purest form of stablecoin bet, and uh, yeah, so that's why, and that kind of hasn't like transitioned. I don't think we have seen like a spillover effect of stablecoin uh, DeFi coins yet, because I just think like whenever that will happen, the parabolic move hasn't happened for DeFi coins yet. I feel like, bro, Circle, m- like Maker, I think is makes like 100 million or something a year, and they do these buybacks and all this stuff. It's not, and Circle makes like what 300 million or something, or 400 million or something, and uh, and they're worth $66 billion, right? And Maker is what 2 billion, 1 billion,
bro. I
right?
don't know.
So
I don't know.
I just think like the pure DeFi plays in crypto, they haven't repriced yet. Yes, they have pumped 30-40%, but I don't think like the real explosive move is there. And the third thing is RWAs. Like I think this tokenizing stuff, maybe you can speak more about it as you have worked closely uh, on the actual stuff with all these big institutions and stuff with their cross chain, like going cross chain and stuff. I think those three narratives are like the only things that are like the pure plays stuff. And obviously Hyperliquid is something you can always bet on because you're basically betting on the speculation aspect of this market, and it's irrespective of up or down, volatility is always going to be there. So Hyperliquid is going to always keep making money, and they're always going to buy back their token, and there's just more stuff coming up. So I think like those three are the main key narratives to play, and all the rest of the tokens, I think they'll just continue to underperform.
I actually have a different perspective long term. I think as these ETFs become a lot more normal and you see a lot more individual token ETFs come out, I think we'll see consolidation in a way that you'll see a similar like S&P 500 index come out for crypto, and instead of people bidding an individual ETF, they'll probably want to bid an index of crypto assets, and that's where you'll see like a like a moonshot of these top 50 assets. I don't know when that happens. I don't know how it will happen, but some fund manager will put this together and they'll see, like maybe they'll remove the meme coins out of it, maybe they'll do something or the other, but it will be like the bids on these underperforming assets will come when you have a basket of assets together and people are buying the basket itself. That's how I think about it. I don't know. It is an interesting question though, KG. The Aave, I think the maker question you're posing is very similar to like the Ethena question that people are posing as well.
Ethena,
Um,
ha- Ethena has revenues, but the problem Maker doesn't have a problem with emissions, right? Like there is no, it's already unlocked, it's already an OG team. Uh, there's not people out there selling millions of Maker every day, right? Yes, price can go down, but it's not like, uh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be like it's just follow the flows, follow where people are spending, and more of like you will see like when Aave was getting bid, there was no retracement at all. It was showing strength. It just shows like more bigger players are getting exposure. You just need to find those and kind of allocate in that way. But yeah, man, I think we've covered a lot. We are at the 1 hour mark. Anything else that you want to talk about, or we can end it?
I think we're finally back after 10 days, so I'm happy that we're doing this. But yeah, bro, like I think we need to get Sandeep on the pod. We need to get the block asset guys on the pod. We need to get Hamza and Ishan back on the pod as well. Hamza's on. He's gone to some virtuals event in Singapore, so we'll hear about that next week,
Yeah, that's
which should
convenient.
be interesting. But yeah, bro, it's always a pleasure.
Peace, man. Have a great weekend.
You too, bro.